Here's a quick video on how to properly read the periodic table, just the basics. So it would be helpful if you can get out your periodic table, but I've got one right here that's pretty small, but at least you should get the idea across. So the first thing to look at is if you just look at an individual box, you can read a lot of different things about that element just based on what's in each box. So the main thing you'll notice is the letters. Some of them have 2 letters, some of them have 1 letter. This is called the chemical symbol. And the chemical symbol is just an easy way for people when they're doing chemistry to not have to write the whole element name. And so each element has its own specific symbol. In this case, we're drawing a box of carbon. And so the name is usually found right underneath the chemical symbol. Now, you'll also notice a couple of numbers. The most important number is this number that's in the upper left-hand corner of this particular periodic table. That is called the atomic number, and the atomic number tells us how many protons there are in one atom of that element, which I'll explain in a later video. But the main thing is that number tells us what element it is. Carbon is number 6, neon is number 10, radon is number 86. So each one has its own specific number that is only that element. And you're always going to look at that atomic number to get that number. Now there's also another number in the box, and that's almost always down at the bottom, and that is the atomic mass. So the atomic mass tells us how much one atom of that particular element weighs, and that is done in atomic mass units, or AMUs, and that is the weight of one proton. And so usually the atomic mass is about twice as much as the atomic number, because there are also neutrons in that atom that weigh just about the same as a proton. So you'll see carbon has an atomic mass of 12.011. The 0.011, that's the electrons because they're teeny. And then the atomic number is 6. Okay, so let's talk about how to color these. So what we are looking at is which ones on the periodic table are solids, liquids, and gases. So mercury and bromine are the only 2 elements that are liquid at room temperature. And then these along the right-hand side of the periodic table are the noble gases. And they're called that because they don't react to anything. They're kind of too good for everybody else. And then these are the only other gases except the most common element and the first element on the periodic table, which is over by itself, and that is hydrogen. So all of these that are, I just colored red, are our gases. You'll notice a couple of these down at the end have a funky symbol that's 3 letters. That's just because on this particular periodic table, those hadn't been named yet. But actually on the periodic table that I gave you a copy of, they are named, and that's their real names. So the whole rest of the periodic table is solids. Most of them are metals, and they're on the periodic table in order according to their atomic numbers. So it starts at 1 with hydrogen and goes all the way to 118, which is, I can't remember what it's called, osinagium, something like that. Anyway, you'll notice there are also these ones down at the bottom, kind of off by themselves, And these ones are just supposed to fit on the periodic table up here. And they just put them down at the bottom so that they don't end up having the periodic table be this huge, long, skinny thing. So it's just so it'll fit better. So there's that's the main reason that they're down by themselves. All right, anyway, that's your brief introduction to the periodic table. Thanks very much for listening.